Yeah, Fred, it's just a little bit too late for you to have a bucket list, buddy. I'm sorry, it's just the facts. I, look, I suppose I could help you out with a couple of things. Maybe if they align, we'll see how things go. What's up, guys? How's it going? Talking to Fred about bucket lists. This video is actually going to be about bucket lists as well, because it's something I've been thinking about lately. So I kind of wanted to cover that topic and share a little bit of my own bucket list. But before we get into that, I do wanted to share a couple of things real quick. First and foremost, the Patreon, and I know I've been pushing that a lot lately. There's a reason for that. There's a lot of things that I want to do as a creator that are currently a little more difficult to accomplish. And so with the Patreon, there's rewards on there. There's things that you guys can go and check out. And it's a way that I can help kind of fund some things and some future plans that I've got coming up. On that note, I also wanted to talk real briefly about my drive for 500 subscribers. That's something new that I'm starting. I'm going to plan for if and when we get to 500 subscribers, I would like to share, do like a giveaway for a photo. So as you've probably noticed lately, I've been doing a lot more photography stuff. I've been sharing a lot more of it on social media stuff. I've been getting out, taking some different pictures, trying some new things out. Goes all the way back to the beginning of the channel, like the photography stuff that I was doing throughout last summer. So what I want to do when I get to 500 subscribers is essentially give away one of those photos, or if you don't have a favorite photo, maybe you looked around and you don't really have any that stick out that you have as a favorite, I'll actually go out and take one that's exclusively for the winner of the giveaway. They will be the first person to see it. Nobody else will see it until it has arrived at their house and they have it and they can put it up and do whatever they want with it. So that's something that I'm working towards. And on a similar note, I'm working to try and grow the channel a little bit more. I haven't really been pushing that as much. I've kind of been laying back and just kind of seeing how it goes and making videos, and that's all fine, great, and wonderful. The thing is if I leave it up to YouTube, growth is really slow. And the reason that's frustrating is because inside, my brain likes to see the numbers. Being completely honest, my brain loves to see numbers that climb and keep going up. Aside from that, I love to have more comments to respond to, more things, more interaction with people. And those of you that currently watch my videos on a regular basis, you guys are awesome. You interact real consistently, comment on, there's some of you that comment on every single video, and you guys are awesome. I want more of that. And ultimately, the goal of the channel, I'm not going to be one of those channels that kind of just falls into YouTube's algorithm of things of, we want to have videos that are under 10 minutes long, or right at 10 minutes long, and videos that are quick and to the point and don't play around, and none of that. I don't want to do any of that. I'm here to build a community, to have fun, to make the kind of videos that I want to make, and just be myself. I can't be anything other than who I am. And to make some of these, the trendy videos and those kind of things, yeah, that would help me grow. I would get probably 1 million subscribers. We've seen people get 1 million subscribers in the course of a few months by following trending topics. That's just not me. So I've already conceded the fact that, it's going to be slow building that community. But in order to help me get there, I need you guys' help. If you watch the videos completely, if you like the videos, hit the like button. Those two things especially, and adding a comment. Anytime that you comment down below, even something simple in the comment section, that helps to tell YouTube, hey, this video is worth promoting. As it is right now, they're promoting my videos to my subscribers, and not very far beyond that. So all of that, I just want to get that out of the way. Won't be a normal thing in the beginning of the videos, but this video, it was on my mind, so I kind of wanted to get that out of the way, especially because we're talking about bucket list stuff, and there's some things on my bucket list that are going to be things that have to do with the channel moving forward. So I'm going to grab tea. I won't show a montage this time. That was a lot of fun, but I don't want to do that every time. But I'm going to grab tea. Fred and I are going to go sit on the couch, and we'll pick it back up there. So I'll see you all in a second. some good stuff. I've had kind of an itchy throat this week. Had a little bit of a cold, I think, and sinuses. It's been a mess. But with that out of the way, welcome back to Lee's Professional Channel on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? So this video, first of all, I'm going to apologize ahead of time because the dishwasher's running in the kitchen. I stopped it for the intro. I'm not going to stop it again because it needs to get done. And I've interrupted the dishes enough today. So, a bucket list. Why am I talking about bucket lists? What is wrong with me? A couple of different reasons. First and foremost, the term bucket list actually, as far as I can tell, comes from the term kicking the bucket, which means dying. And so a lot of people, some people come up with bucket lists. A lot of people don't really think too much about it because it kind of makes us think about our own mortality in a way, which is really scary for most people. So the reason why it's been on my mind a lot lately has a lot to do with the fact that I'm in my mid-30s and I'm getting close to, my mom passed away when she was 42. And so that number, as far as an age, has always hit a certain spot with me. And for a long time now, I've had an idea in my head of just some things I would like to do before I die, some things that, within my life I'd like to accomplish. So I wanted to formalize it a little bit more and kind of put it in writing in a way and put it into a video, because I thought, if I put it into a video, because this has become such a big part of my life over the last year, it'll give me something to kind of strive for. And it's something that I can kind of work through videos, and I'd like to take you guys along if you're interested to see some of these things and check off some of these things off of my list. So before I get started on my bucket list, I want to see down in the comments, give me something that's on your bucket list. If you don't have a bucket list, leave something down there you'd like to do. Put some thought into it. Something that you would really truly like to do before your time on this earth is done. We're all limited in time, and I think it's important that we keep an eye on that and realize that, because at the end of the day, if we don't deal with our own immortality, if we don't think about these things, it'll sneak up on us, and before we know it, we're going to be in a situation where we can't accomplish the things that we want to actually do. So let me know down in the comments what's something that you would have on your bucket list if you don't have one, or something you do have on your bucket list that you'd like to do before you kick the bucket. Okay, so these are in no particular order, but this is kind of what I've got on my bucket list at the moment, and I'll probably add more to it, but just for right now, this is what I've got on my bucket list. The first thing is to travel to every state in the United States. Now, so far, I've been to 30 states in the District of Columbia. I've got 20 states left. I actually created a map earlier showing what states I have been to, what states I haven't been to. And the way that I came up with this was basically any state that I have been to more than just driving through. Because, for instance, I've been to Florida, but that's not marked off on the map because basically I just went down there, grabbed a geocache one weekend, and drove back up to Ohio. So I didn't really have anything significant that I was doing there. Mississippi, Louisiana, I've driven through those on the way back and forth when I was stationed in Texas. I didn't really count those because they were just drive-throughs. Other states that I've driven through were part of an experience, though. So, for instance, Kansas, Colorado, Utah. We actually stayed in Colorado and Utah. We took the kids on a cross-country road trip a few years ago. So we covered a lot of those states, and some of those we stayed in, some of those we just kind of drove through, but even if we were driving through them, it was all part of the experience. So that's really what I'm getting at with this first one, is I want to have an experience in each state that is something that I can categorically say, that's what I was in that state for. That's what I did while I was there. So, and that's to get I've got 20 more states to get out of the way. I think the hardest are going to be Alaska and Hawaii. Specifically Hawaii, because the cost of airfare is insane. But we'll see. At some point I want to get all 50 states covered. So on the same note of traveling, I want to see Europe. And my wife and I talked about this. Once the kids kind of, they're up and moved out, we'll have some time to be able to hopefully do some of these things, like go over and see some different countries in Europe and kind of travel around and get to see some of the history. It's been something that I've kind of wanted to do, just to see things like Stonehenge, go see Ireland and go see Scotland, just see all of these different things that we've seen. We've seen them in books, and we've seen them on TV, but we've never got to see them in real life, in person. So we'd like to see some of these things. That's a big thing that I would like to go do, is see some of these things in Europe and get to know the history firsthand. The third thing on my list, I want to own a boat. Now, when I say own a boat, it's, I could go out right now probably and buy a cheap boat that I could just paddle out onto a lake with. That's not what I mean, though. I would like to own a boat that will allow me to, spend a night or two out. If I want to go fishing somewhere on the lake, spend a night or two out on the lake, have some place to kind of rest, as well as to make food. It doesn't have to be anything really elaborate. I'm not talking about a yacht or anything like that. Nothing multi-million dollars worth, but something that's enough of a boat that I can enjoy some time out on, because I like getting out on the water. I like to fish. I like to get out on the water and take, especially when it comes to taking pictures. You can get some really cool pictures from out on the lake. So there's things that I would love to do that would be so much easier if I had a boat to be able to do them with. So that's a smaller thing, but it's still something that I would like to have a boat before I die. Fourth thing on the list, photograph a sunset from a mountaintop. Now, this isn't overly specific. I don't really care how I get up there to do it. Like when I was talking about the cross-country trip we took a couple years ago, we drove up onto Mount Evans, which is the highest paved road in North America. It's a little over 14,000 feet. So we got up there and we got to see these gorgeous views. It was an amazing vista, but it was the middle of the day. I would love to be sitting up high like that on a peak somewhere where I can just kind of watch the sun as it sets over the horizon. I think that would be amazing. And specifically to photograph that, because I've seen some really beautiful photographs that people have taken in those circumstances, and I kind of want to do that too. Number 5 on the list, and like I said, these aren't in any particular order. So this is, if they were in order, this would probably be at the top of the list. To raise my kids to be happy and healthy adults. I've tried my best to this point, and they're getting up there. My oldest is going to be graduating high school in a few years, getting ready to drive this year, which is a weird thing to think about. But I want to see all of my kids be more successful than I am. And I think that's the goal and the dream of every parent, is to see your kids kind of be a little bit more successful, be better off than you were. And I've been trying to set them up for that and trying to get them in a place and teach them things, life lessons that I wish I had been taught when I was their age, so that when they grow up and they get out on their own and they're doing their own thing, they can look back on those things and they can really understand, like, oh, this is why Dad taught this to me. This is why this was important. So that's something that I'm striving for, that I think is probably the most important out of anything on this list. If nothing else, I want to see all of them become happy, healthy adults and go out in the world and find their own way, and I want things to work out for them more than anything else. Number 6 on my list, I want to photograph an animal in every state. Now, I want to be a little specific with this one, because I don't want to have 50 pictures of just random squirrels from each state. I want to photograph a different animal. It doesn't necessarily have to be unique to the state, but an animal that kind of like encompasses the state and what it's about. So, alligators somewhere in the south, Florida or Louisiana or Mississippi, alligators. I don't know what else they have down there other than alligators, because that's what the South is known for. But, bears out in Colorado or up in Alaska, grizzly bears, that kind of stuff. I want to get some kind of good picture of wildlife for each state. And eventually, my goal is to have 50 different animal pictures that I've taken, one for each state, that I can hang up on a wall as a display. And I don't know if I would have those as individual pictures or collage, or how I would do that necessarily, but it's something that I would like to do that I think would just be really cool from a photography standpoint and just from an exploration standpoint. Number 7 on my list here is a little bit tied into the channel, but more tied into kind of just photography in general. I want to have one of my pictures hanging up on somebody's wall that isn't me or a family member or a friend. So essentially, I want to take a picture that's good enough that somebody says, I want that picture hanging up on my wall. That would just be, as an artist, as a photographer, that would be a big deal. Even just one, if somebody says, boy, that picture's awesome, I would love to have it hanging up on my wall. That's the kind of image that I'm looking for. And that's why I do some of this stuff that I do, is trying to find these things that will excite people, that will evoke an emotion. It's what photography is all about for me. And I know I cover a lot of different topics on this channel. Paranormal stuff, logic, history, ghost stories, you name it. But it all comes back to photography, where I started the channel. And to me, that's still a passion. Videography, photography. That's why I started the Reaper series, and why I want to do some more series like that in the future. Because it's the creative process. It's the part that I really enjoy. So I want to get back to some of that stuff. That's why I've been kind of shifting the direction a little bit of the channel as it goes forward too. Is photography is still important to me, even though I really stopped making photography videos in general last fall. I want to kind of feed them back in and start getting more of that stuff, because of things like wanting to have a picture that people will see and fall in love with and just be like, I really want to have it. And number 8, and the final one on the list, is I want to own a house. And that may sound trivial to a lot of people, but realistically, in 2022, for somebody in their mid-30s who has 3 kids that are almost raised, owning a house has been something I haven't been able to do to this point. And I'm trying really hard in the next year and a half to get into a place that we can call our own, a home, to finish raising the kids, and then to kind of have into retirement as we grow older. And so that's something that I would really like to do, and that's put on the bucket list, because it's really important to me to have that. One, because me personally, I don't have any place that I don't have a real place that I can go back to, that I can call home. The houses that I grew up in are all owned by other people. And I would love to have a house that, even if it's only for a few years, the kids can say, I grew up there for a time, and 20 years from now they can still come back for holidays and that kind of stuff. I know it's kind of a romanticized idea, but it's something that is important, that it's important enough to go on my bucket list. So that's all I've got. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully, like I said, leave a comment down below letting me know what's on your bucket list, because I would love to know what other people are thinking. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in life. Even if you think you've accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish, still come up with something else. Because if you stop growing, if you stop looking for new things and things to kind of put yourself out there, I think you lose a little bit of yourself. And so it's important to kind of pay attention to that kind of stuff and think about it. Alright, so that's all I got. I'll go ahead and throw a video up here, so just go check that one out if you haven't already. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.